You see the light?
Yeah, I see light.
To them birds flying free, fish in the sea, flowers and trees, every little bumblebee. I wanna sing. Ooh, to the kids playing hoops, going loop-de-loop, their rainbow-colored bouncy balls and their ice cream scoops. Got my shoes in my hand and my feet in the
Who would have thought it would take this much wood to just shelve up a pantry?
And this ain't even half of what it's going to take to frame this thing.
What we're going to be building in the pantry is 3 levels of floating shelves.
Now the way we have these shelves designed, they're going to be floating, but they're going to be suspended on all 4 walls. So one wall is going to support the next wall, that's going to support the next wall, so forth and so on. That way we could set an army tank on there if we wanted to. That might be a little extreme, but you get where we're going with this thing.
So far, WWE is going to be performed in there. What was the other one we said?
I just keep hearing this Rocky theme song every time I start building these things. So maybe when all these shelves are done, we can play some Rocky music in the background and I can run up them, get to the top, jump up and down. I don't know.
I think everybody would kill to see that.
I'm not sure if the height. I might bump my head on the ceiling, but we might check into that later.
So we are going to be doing white. I know we told you all that in the last video because of the black that we put in behind on the walls. So the main things whenever it comes to building these shelves that we are going to be focusing on is the durability
and aesthetics. That sounds so sophisticated. We're going to make them aesthetically pleasing. Like anybody else in the world is going to be going and getting in their pantry to grab a box of Cheerios and be like, these are some really pretty shelves y'all built in this pantry. Anyway, it's just for us.
We do want them to look nice and we do want to get the best bang for our buck. Granted, this lumber was insanely expensive. Of course, everything is high, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So let's go ahead and get started. So in order to install our first shelf, we're gonna be setting up our laser level. And the height that we're gonna be setting our laser level at is 23¼ So the first shelf is going to sit 24 inches or 2 foot up off the ground. And the board that's going to go on top of our 2x4 is 3/4 inch thick. So you add that 3/4 inch plus the 23¼ that makes the full 24 inches. So as most of y'all know, I'm not originally from here. And living in Louisiana, I've learned that you can actually plant 2 gardens during the summertime. Our plants are kind of dead, aren't they? Yeah, we need to pull them up, huh?
Okay.
That being said, it was time to replant our garden. Pop it. We did end up getting a lot of produce from the garden this first plant, but now we're ready to fill our raised beds with just tomatoes. Over the past 2 months, we've got the privilege to introduce to y'all our smart water garden system, RainPoint. For a quick recap, RainPoint is an intelligent water system that integrates a water timer, soil and sunlight sensor, rain gauge, and outdoor thermometer for self-analysis. And this allows you to keep up with all the details on your garden anywhere at any time. When we are home, we're able to keep up with the garden conditions using the Weather Station Hub. As you can see here, the Weather Hub provides you every detail on the outside conditions, from the next watering time, weather forecast, low battery sensors, water usage, and so much more. Listen, I know a lot of people like to say, oh, I've got a garden, and which I totally believe you because I am the same way. But whenever I get inside after a long, hot, sweaty day, I take a shower and I lay down in bed, and then my eyes pop wide open because I think, did I water the garden today? Yeah, y'all know that feeling? Well, RainPoint has completely eliminated that. Having the water timer set up, you can water your garden straight from your phone. You can do this at any time, or you can also set it up on a plan. You can also decide how long you want to water the garden and how many gallons you use without the hassle of getting out. You can either set your garden to be watered on a timer for any amount of time that you want, or you can set it up on how many gallons you want your garden to use. Setting your garden up on a plan is going to be great for things like a vacation, or if you're just going to be out of town for a few days, or even if you don't want to have to worry about it every day. RainPoint has got your back whenever it comes to watering your garden. Having the 2-zone water timer is great as well, since some plants require more water than others. Just select which side you would like to turn on and for how long, then do the same to the other side. The water flow meter is great to have as well because it keeps track of how much water you're using, even if it's not for your garden, maybe something like washing your car. Being mindful and keeping track of your gallon usage is one way that RainPoint is helping reduce overwatering. Y'all make sure to go to the link in the description, and for 15% off, use code Cajun Country Living 15 off. Thank you, RainPoint, for sponsoring this video.
So the beginning steps of setting up all this framing and getting this screwed in, we had to make sure that we were screwing into a stud, and we knew that we would forget. So we went ahead early on before we got to the tiling and all that business, and we drew a diagram and put where each stud location was. That way we can't screw it up, or shouldn't.
And whenever Jim says we, he means he, because he needs to take full responsibility for actually using the notepad. Might we add, he used to hate on my little notepad, and now look at him. I mean, really, y'all, look how in depth. So because Jim went ahead and drew this pantry diagram, we can go ahead and start pre-drilling all these holes and knock that out early, which is gonna save us some time in the pantry. We're not gonna have to worry about if we are putting an extra hole in somewhere that we're not gonna need it. And this is gonna be great to have for future references anyway. So later on, if we wanna go ahead and add something in there, well, bam, pull the notebook out, ready to go.
A new place, a new home, for a while, let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back, take my time, just enjoy the ride. A new man passing by, life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up, somewhere new, somewhere I can find myself. Oh, I feel so alive. As I reach out to the sky. I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day. Cause I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay. Cause I found my way.
So there's gonna be 18 inches in between our shelves. So the first one's gonna be 2 foot off the ground, the next one's gonna be 18 inches from that, and the one above there is gonna be 18 inches from there.
Cause I found my way. Cause I found my way.
One of the most common problems that we have in this house is finding things to make our laser level exactly the height that we need it.
And then trying to not knock the laser level off of whatever we're using.
Close your eyes. Get some rest. I'm by your side. Lay your head on my chest.
Squeeze the trigger.
Now you've had
Squeeze it. Go on, squeeze it hard. Squeeze it hard.
but right here it's gonna be.
Good job.
Wait.
You did it.
A people.
Oh, yeah.
A horsey.
A horsey? Come on, let's go check it out.
Howard, we're gonna be okay. It's too great. We're gonna be okay. Calm your soul. Hold my hand. Don't let go.
Even with the diagram and exact measurements, we still drilled these holes in the wrong spot. So what happened is I didn't take 1.5 inches from our diagram to allow for the 2x4 that we're mating this one up against. It's just those little things like that that you overlook. It can be such a headache. But anyway, we were able to figure out what we did really quick, re-drill all these holes, and get it bulletproof and anchored in.
The sun could go out, we're gonna be okay. Before the blue skies way too gray, we're gonna be okay.
You sitting down on the job?
Yeah, I am. I'm taking a little break. Who would have thought that there were so many little cuts into building pantry shelf framing? Well, the framing is obviously okay as far as the weight test goes. When we got the bottom shelf framing all put in place, we have 2 more that we're going to frame out. And I can roughly calculate that being about 900,876 cuts. That's at least what it seems like to me.
We really wanted to get this first shelf put in and just really be able to focus on those 987,400 cuts, whatever that number was. That way we could get the first shelf in and just see really where we were going to go from here and how easy this was going to be.
So we could have done this the easy way and just got some brackets, or we could have just put straight shelving in, and we didn't want to do that. This is our home. We're going to live in this thing forever, and we wanted the shelving to kind of lay in with the doorway when you walked in, so everything would be fluid and symmetrical. And when you're not a carpenter, trying to figure out all these angles on an angle, and the frustrating part is we know there are people out there that can look at this and knock it out in probably an hour because they're good at what they do. But learning how to do this stuff as you go really takes a chunk out of your time.
I know, like, if my dad would just take off one afternoon and drive down here, work through the night, just a few hours. All you gotta do is put in a few hours here. He's just one of those people that could have done that, but you know.
Oh yeah. So, Opal, shut down the restaurant and come down here and bring the tape measure.
Or better yet, why don't y'all come here and do some work on the house and we'll go up there and run the restaurant. I don't know how well we do on the whole like opening thing, but we could definitely taste everything. We keep having these like pop-up rain showers going on. And I don't know about Jim's hair, but I'm telling you, this humidity that we're about to have is just gonna be dandy.
The good thing is when they come, it cools everything off Everything's really nice for about 10 minutes because that's about how long they last. Then the sun comes up, then you get a steam bath for the rest of the day. It's dreamy.
Or if you're like me and you got curly hair. Adios to that. Hello, frizz.
So you're in a hurry? Well, you better calm down. We're all friends around you, just join the fun. 'Cause if you're in a hurry, you're missing the point. Should enjoy the fruits of life instead of chasing coins. Because it's a beautiful day. Isn't so come on, let's play.
We finally have all the framing finished for these shelves. Next comes our 3/4 inch finished shelving boards and facing pieces.
And all you gotta do is follow these 3 easy steps. Step 1,
Step 2 and step 3. What? They're really strong. Hey, you always said I was a snack.
we wish that we would have been that lucky. After we installed the 2x4s, we cut the shelf tops. We first put the large shelf, then worked around that. All in all, putting these shelf tops on was pretty straightforward. But before we started to nail them into the 2x4s, we did run a bead of wood glue. From there, we used our brad nailer to hold the shelves in place. When it came time for the front-facing boards, we really had some work ahead of us. The first thing that we did was router the top edge with a very simple rounded bit. All in all, I think that they turned out exactly how we both imagined. Now, granted, we still need to fill the nail holes, do some sanding, and paint the shelves, but all in all, we are so proud of ourselves for sticking to the vision we had and taking on yet another skill. The pantry still has some work left, but we have to focus on the steps in front of us and not the whole staircase. We will see y'all on Wednesday, Cajun family.
Now what we have here is a GoPro behind the scenes sour cream lid suction cup GoPro hooks.
Does it write all that on the screen?
as long as you're in